God is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him. How shall we comfort ourselves, the murderers of all murderers? According to some skeptics, natural science as an explanation for the universe has killed God. On this view, science and the Bible are competing theories which try to explain natural events. The success of natural science has replaced theological explanations. But is this really so? I assert that we have special revelation from God through His inspired holy word. Has modern science really undermined the integrity of the Bible? The Bible never claims to be a science book. It is a book selectively tailored to very specific and limited ends. The story of God's intention for humankind, the ruination of that plan, and its reclamation centered on Jesus Christ. The Bible was written by people with a pre-scientific worldview. Of course, God knew that. And yet, God chose to come to those people at a time and place with that primitive worldview to write and transmit information. The descriptions they give such things are born out of the vocabulary at their disposal. God didn't bother telling the people He moved to write Scripture the real scientific answers to how He did what He did. It just wasn't necessary for God's purpose. Now, along the way, the people who wrote it used the literary norms of the day. The Bible conforms in every way to literary conventions of the time period in things like genre, literary forms, language, and grammar. It is a very human book put together under a very divine providential oversight. When skeptics take verses out of their specific language, historical, and literary context and compare them with modern scientific knowledge, they are committing a category error. Yet there is knowledge in the Bible that cannot be explained by historical context. Among the intriguing proofs of the Bible's inspiration is its unique scientific foreknowledge. Many of the scientific facts which prove the divine inspiration of Scripture are tucked away in its pages. These proofs are given in non-scientific language, but nevertheless, they substantiate the claims of authenticity of the Holy Scriptures. We are told in Exodus that Moses was raised in Egypt as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. In the New Testament, that Moses was instructed in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and he was mighty in his words and deeds. So just what was the wisdom of the Egyptians when it came to medical science? Of 700 medical cures found in the Ebers Papyrus, 300 of them have as their major ingredient dung. Human waste, alligator dung, dung from flies. That's right. Dung was put directly on wounds or ingested in drinks and cures. For instance, the ingredients of a contraceptive are listed as crocodile dung, honey, and sour milk. In Deuteronomy 23, verses 12 through 14, Moses instructed the Israelites always to bury human waste products. Now today, of course, with centuries of experience behind us, we know that this is an excellent hygienic practice. But how did Moses know it? How did the father of our country die? We bled him to death. George Washington asked to be bled heavily after he developed a throat infection from weather exposure. Almost 4 pounds of blood was withdrawn prior to his death. People believed that blood was where the evil vapors were found, and that getting rid of blood would make a person well again. Bloodletting was the most common medical practice performed by doctors from antiquity up into the 20th century, a time span of almost 2,000 years. It was in fact recommended by the world's leading authority in the teaching of modern medicine, Professor of Medicine at Johns Hopkins University, Sir William Osler, in his 1923 edition of the textbook, The Principles of Modern Medicine. Now, some 2,000 years prior, Moses told the Israelites that the life of the flesh is in the blood. Of course, he was correct. Today, we know the red blood cells can carry oxygen due to the hemoglobin in the cells. In fact, the red blood cells carry approximately 270 million molecules of hemoglobin per cell. Think of how often blood transfusions have made life possible for those who would otherwise have died. Today, we know the truth of the matter. But how did Moses know it?